There is one thing that separates genuinely smart people from everyone else. Not their education, not their memory, not how fast they can solve a problem. It is something far quieter than any of those things, and once you see it, you will notice it everywhere. Across Europe, researchers studying high performers, breakthrough thinkers, and exceptionally intelligent individuals keep finding the same pattern. One habit, one approach, one thing that appears in almost every person operating at the highest levels of intelligence. And the most surprising part is that most of them do not even realize they are doing it. They think in questions, not answers. 1. Average minds seek answers. Exceptional minds seek better questions. Psychologists who study cognitive performance across European universities have identified a consistent pattern in how highly intelligent people approach problems. Where most people immediately search for an answer, genuinely smart people pause first and examine the question itself. They ask whether the right question is even being asked. They challenge the framing before accepting the premise. Research from cognitive psychology institutions in Germany and Switzerland shows that reframing a problem before attempting to solve it leads to significantly more creative, accurate, and effective outcomes. The answer was never the goal. The right question was. 2. They are deeply comfortable sitting with uncertainty. Most people find uncertainty deeply uncomfortable. The brain is wired to resolve open loops as quickly as possible. It wants closure. It wants answers. It wants to move on. But genuinely smart people have developed what psychologists call negative capability, a term first used by the poet John Keats and later adopted by psychology researchers across Europe to describe the rare ability to remain in uncertainty without desperately reaching for resolution. They sit with incomplete information. They hold open questions. They let understanding develop slowly rather than forcing a conclusion prematurely. And the answers they eventually arrive at are almost always deeper and more accurate because of it. 3. They regularly question what they already believe. This is the habit that separates intelligence from stubbornness. Genuinely smart people do not just question the world around them. They question themselves. Psychology research on intellectual humility, studied extensively across Scandinavian and Dutch academic institutions, shows that the most cognitively advanced individuals actively seek out evidence that challenges their existing beliefs, not to destroy their worldview, but to refine it. They treat their own opinions as hypotheses rather than conclusions, always open to being updated, always willing to be wrong, because being wrong and correcting course is always more intelligent than being wrong and defending the mistake. And here is where it gets truly fascinating, because thinking in questions is not just a habit. It is a complete rewiring of how a person relates to the world around them. And the deeper you go into how genuinely smart people think, the more you realize that the one thing they do differently touches every single area of their life in ways most people never expect. 4. They listen to understand, not to respond. Research in cognitive communications psychology conducted across multiple European universities shows a consistent and striking difference between average and exceptionally intelligent conversationalists. Most people listen just enough to find their entry point. The moment they identify where they can speak, they stop truly hearing. Genuinely smart people do the opposite. They listen past the point where most people have already stopped. They sit with what was said. They turn it over. They look for what was underneath the words rather than what was on the surface. And the result is that when they finally do respond, it lands differently because it came from a place of genuine understanding rather than simple reaction. 5. They connect things that have no obvious connection. Psychologists studying creative intelligence across Europe call this associative thinking. It is the ability to draw meaningful links between ideas, disciplines, and experiences that appear completely unrelated on the surface. Genuinely smart people do not think in isolated boxes. They think in networks. A concept from biology informs how they understand economics. A pattern from music explains something they noticed in human behavior. Research shows that the density and flexibility of these mental networks is one of the strongest predictors of both creative output and problem-solving ability ever measured. And it explains why genuinely intelligent people are often fascinated by everything, because to them, everything is connected to everything else. 6. They never stop being a beginner. This final point is the one that most clearly defines genuine intelligence in Europe and everywhere else. Genuinely smart people carry what Zen philosophy calls beginner's mind and what European cognitive psychology calls perpetual learning orientation. No matter how much they know, they approach new information as if they know nothing. They do not let expertise become a wall that stops new understanding from entering. They remain students of everything, forever, because they understand something that most people never grasp. That the moment you believe you have fully understood something, you have stopped truly thinking about it. And stopping thinking, for a genuinely intelligent mind, is the only thing that ever truly limits it. If you think in questions rather than answers, if you sit comfortably with uncertainty, if you connect ideas that nobody else connects, psychology is not calling you different. It is calling you exactly what you always were, a mind that was never going to be satisfied with the surface of anything. Did you recognize yourself in this? Tell us which point hit you hardest in the comments. And if this video reached something in you that most videos never do, subscribe. Because on this channel, we do not just explain intelligence, we speak directly to it.